Welcome, welcome, ladies, and thanks for being here. I'm Jaki Sabourin, your host of the Engaged at Any Age online global event where we're taking a deep dive into loving the single life, mastering dating, and attracting the one. And today I am featuring my soulmate husband, Michael Sabourin. Michael, thanks for being here and welcome.
Hi, baby, and hello to everyone that is going to take the time to watch this video. It's my pleasure to offer insights into my experiences, and hopefully you'll be able to find your soulmate as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, ladies. I was excited to introduce Michael to you because I know a lot of women ask me about Michael and my experience in meeting him and want to hear from him about his online dating experience because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, we met on Match and we've been together for 5 years. And this is a man who said to me when I met him, "I'm never getting married again." So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But before we do, Michael, will you just give the ladies a little history and your background and just share with them a little bit about you?
Sure, I'll be brief. I graduated from college with a degree in business, and for 40 plus years, I have been working in the business environment in a few different industries. But for the last 27 years, I've been working as a developer and a home builder. I have also been married previously for 25 years, and I have 2 wonderful children who are 24 and 27 years old. And I'm very proud of both of them.
Great, I know, I am too. And so let's jump right in. The ladies that are in my community, I surveyed them and I asked them, Michael, what they wanted me to ask you. And the first couple of questions came up. They really wanted to hear from you on how, how did you know that I was the one? What made you fall in love with me? What was the difference between me and the other women that you dated? And then, of course, I'm going to ask you about your online dating experience. But if you can just talk a little bit about that, that'd be great.
That has a lot of different doors to open. And I think the first time I saw your profile on Match.com, I remember it vividly. I was sitting at home on a Friday evening. I work late. I was just kind of scrolling through Match and I saw your photo and I thought, what a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I read your profile and I thought, she has an even more beautiful heart. And that drew me to you immediately. So I sent an email and Friday night, and on Saturday sometime you responded back to me. And then I responded back and said I would like to have a phone conversation if you were up for it. And you replied back yes. And because I was with my son Saturday and Sunday, I remember so well because it was Father's Day on Sunday, and I said I would be unavailable for the day, but after my son and I had spent the day experiencing all the wonderful things we love to do together, that I would be more than happy to get on a phone call. So we got on a phone call that night, and it was a wonderful conversation, and I remember thinking that, wow, we share a lot of the same values. And that was really important to me. So we arranged to meet the next night, Monday night. And we met at one of our favorite restaurants today in La Jolla. And I can remember watching you walk down the sidewalk into the restaurant. And what a wonderful feeling I had when you walked in that door.
And for me, I remember walking down that sidewalk and wanting to run the other way. And what I mean by that is that I was so nervous. First dates are nerve-wracking. And so this was another first date experience, and I had this fear come up in me. And I know, ladies, if you've been on many first dates, or maybe it's your first one and you haven't been dating in a while, it's really scary to go on a first date. So the impulse to run or to get out of there, to not show yourself, be vulnerable, be authentic, it's pretty intense. But again, I like overcame it. I kept going, and I'm so glad I did. I'm glad I didn't run. I walked into that restaurant and looked Michael right in the eye, smiling at him. And he was such a gentleman the entire evening. He stood up when I approached and helped me, pulled my chair up for me. And so we proceeded to have a really nice evening together. And so, yeah, I'm glad I showed up for that date. And here we are.
So I remember that evening so well. I could sense that nervousness about you. And my thought was, I need to do whatever I can do to make her feel relaxed and comfortable. So I was myself. I was very calm. I used my normal personality and wit and humor. And it wasn't long until we were both very relaxed and in a conversation and a dialogue. But I can tell you this, from that moment on, I had this nervous energy about me. But it was a really, really positive nervous energy. It was excitement. It was a rejuvenated sense about being with somebody that I thought I could really get along with and form a very endearing relationship with.
And so let me ask you, so you got all of that from a first date, and do you feel that men, I mean, I know you can't speak for all men, but men can tell, they get a sense for a woman on the very first date and can make some assumptions about whether or not they see a future with her or not?
I thought so. I thought so from the day that I saw you on Match, then on our phone conversation, then in our meeting at the restaurant. And what I found was you were consistent. You were always consistent. I found that we shared values. I thought that we had, we learned about each other, that we shared a lot of the same interests. And that really helped in me thinking, wow, this could really be a long-term relationship and the finding of a soulmate. So one thing that I really found that happened to me is I constantly thought of you. Whether I was at work, whether I was at home, whatever I was doing, I was thinking of you and of the possibilities.
Wow. And so just going off the, do you still think of me all the time?
Maybe I do, because I text you throughout the day. And I am an extremely busy person, as I'm extremely busy. As the largest privately held builder in San Diego, I am a very, very busy person. But I never don't think of you and don't take the time to text you, call you every day. It's just important to me and to you.
And that's one of the things I love about you. And I appreciate those texts you send me that say, I'm thinking of you. And so what are some of the other qualities, or do you remember any of the experiences that we had in the first couple of dates that stood out to you? Because again, I want the women that are watching this to try to get a feel for how important it is to use the skills and strategies that all the experts are talking about on this summit, and how important they are and how they can convert into a relationship if you apply those on the first couple of dates and interactions in your profile.
So I'll summarize it first, and then I'll tell you some details. But you were fun, and you're easy, and we are easy.
I'm easy?
Well,
see, we have a sense of humor, ladies. You have to know that about us. You have to have a sense of humor in this process. Otherwise, it's just too hard. You have to bring some levity to it.
And yes, you are. So I found that being with you was really so easy. I remember that when we went out on our second date, we had sat down at the table, a really nice restaurant in La Jolla. We had ordered a bottle of wine. The wine steward had poured the wine, and as we were making a toast to our second date, I started to drink, and I had a mouthful of wine, and you said, you know, I decided to give you a second chance.
Oh, I know, I did. I just said that.
And as you said that, I looked at you and I had a mouthful of wine, and I'm sorry, it just struck me as so funny. And I spewed an entire mouthful of red wine on your white outfit.
Really happened, ladies. He totally did that. And you can imagine how shocked I was on a second date to have to be covered in, I mean, I had red wine like dripping off my eyelashes.
It was something. I felt so sorry and so apologetic, but you just let it run off your shoulders. I can't.
Wine?
Yes, the wine and the fact that it happened. And I was really surprised that you didn't get upset. You didn't yell. You didn't leave. You said, it's not a problem. And I remember the waiter saw it. And when he saw it, he was like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. He ran over with soda water. You took it. You went to the restroom, kind of dabbed yourself out, and came back, and we had a wonderful dinner. So that's one of the things that I immediately registered in my mind. Also, it didn't take long to realize how sweet you are. It came through very clear. You were compassionate, and I could feel that. And one of the things I really liked is that you communicated so well. You are the best communicator I have ever met. You tell me what you want, you tell me what you need, and you're just open about it in such a loving, sensitive way. That's, you know, baby, you're the best. I can't say more.
I like that. I like that you said in a sensitive way, and I think that what happens with women is that we do have needs and wants and desires, but we have a hard time articulating those things to the men, and a lot of times we don't say anything, and then we start to resent the man for not being able to read our mind, or we will attempt to share what we want, but in that process use the wrong tone or present it in a more abrasive way, which will alienate a man. So really it's not what you say, ladies, it's how you say it. And always approaching everything, I like to say, with a feather and not hammering a man, but just inviting him to, you know, to want to please you by approaching it in a very soft way. Because I know that if I approach it from that way, anybody is more than happy to help. But when you're coming at somebody aggressively or too direct, sometimes people tend to back up and close down. And I think especially with men, and I think that might come from just previous experiences, right? Or from not wanting to hurt women, so that men shut down. And so I don't know if that you had that experience, Michael, but I think that could be pretty common.
Exactly. That is very well said. I couldn't say it better. One of the things that I really admired about you, that you taught me, I've been in business a long time, but this is not just in business, this is in a personal life. I saw that you had boundaries, and I was really impressed with the way that you do that. You do that in your daily life. But let me give you an example of what was really eye-opening for me. You and I were dating. It was early, and we went to a restaurant, and we had run into friends of mine, and They were friends of mine for a long time, and we spoke for a couple minutes, and you and I were having a nice evening, catching up with each other after work. And out of the blue, this person reached across and said, "So, Michael, how is Leslie?" which happens to be my ex-wife. And I looked at her and I was stunned that she would say that. And I'm with Jaki, and Jaki didn't even hesitate. She kind of leaned over in front of me and said, "Excuse me, that's very inappropriate, and we're not going to discuss that tonight." And this person sat back and realized that was out of line, that was inappropriate, and it didn't go anywhere else. And that's only one example, but she is so good about setting boundaries at every level. And she does it in a very compassionate, loving, sensitive way. She doesn't get in your face. She doesn't yell. She doesn't raise her voice. She just says the right thing. That's what I love about her. And I've learned it to do and be better myself, because I'm not as good as Jaki is.
Well, I don't know. I might disagree with you, but certainly having boundaries is such an important part about relationships, because boundaries help us to feel safe. And when we don't use boundaries, we feel uncomfortable. So let's look at, if I had not had the courage to say what I said in a way that that woman could receive it, then I would have had to sit there and listen to perhaps, them discuss something that would make me uncomfortable. And so if Michael didn't have boundaries, he might have felt obligated to share something with the woman, even though it was an appropriate question, because he wanted to be nice and he wanted to be polite. So I think boundaries in dating go hand in hand. You really have to have clear boundaries in dating, but in life especially, because they make you feel safe and they give the relationship structure. And we really need that so that we can relax. And so I know that you're going to hear a lot about boundaries on the summit. And I think that's a great example, Michael. I'm so glad that you remember that and are sharing it with the ladies here. And so let's move on to talking about dating. I would love for you to share about your experience online. I know you had, you were online looking for me. And it took you, I don't know how long as it took you, but tell us a little bit about your experience, what you went through and what it was like dating, and, the things that you saw that women did that maybe would support them in being able to apply something that could really make a difference in how they're showing up.
Okay. So I was on Match.com, and for some reason, I thought, I'm not going to put my photos up there. I'm not going to really put my profile out there. And I thought, I'm just going to go out and see what happens. Well, nothing happened. So I finally said, I'm going to put my photos out there, and I'm going to put my profile. And it's really important to make sure you put a profile that is truthful, honest, and realistic about who you are. So I put the profile out there, and all of a sudden I was getting all kinds of contacts and dates. I don't know how many dates I had, but I had 40 to 50, I don't know. And it was a wonderful experience. I never met someone that I didn't really enjoy, but I had no connection with. So it was really important for me to get out there and put that profile out there. And it, for me, as busy as I am, it was the best way to meet people or meet women. That's what I was looking for. And I was so happy when I finally put my profile and everything out online.
So let me ask you this. So you launched your profile, you started the dating process, you went on many dates, and tell me what that was like. So did you feel you improved over time? And in the beginning it was awkward, or how was it for the women, and how often did you see them? Did you have any kind of structure around how you were conducting yourself? Was it always dinner? And just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, me personally, and I don't know how it is for others, but I always invited the woman to have a drink and met at a really nice restaurant bar, very well known, and showed up. And no matter what, I mean, I knew there was a connection or not within a minute or two. And it didn't matter to me. I thought, I invited this person out for a drink, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to have dinner tonight as well. I might as well have dinner with them. And I got to know them a little bit, and I bought dinner for them and bought drinks. And in some cases, I let them know at that point, you know, I really don't think this is a relationship that's going to go anywhere. And sometimes it happened in an email later, but I never had a second date with anyone that I didn't think I had a really good future with. Jaki was the only one over the course of years.
I'm so glad. And so let's go back to the check. I mean, I know, let's not make any assumptions about paying, but where do you stand with that? And how did you feel about the dates going on, and what was your position on who pays for the check?
In my opinion, if the man doesn't offer to pay for the check, you have a big, big red flag. So you need to look for that. Don't ever offer to pay for the check, period. I don't care if you sit there for 10 minutes and stare at each other. Don't offer to pay for that check. If he I don't feel that a woman can't ask a man out for a drink or a date, but a first red sign if he's not willing to pay for that. It's drinks and a dinner. And I feel very strong about you as a woman not offering and not paying for that first date, drink, and dinner.
And so why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that you feel appropriate that you should pay? Where does that come from?
I think it's a real sign of what that man is all about. If he's not willing to pick up a tab, there are signs about his character already. So it just tells me he's not a man's man. I'll tell you that right now. I work in a really, really high profile industry and have friends and business associates at every level. And there is not a man that I respect that would not offer to pick that check up. So please don't do it.
Good. I like that. I think that's solid advice. Sit on your hands, lady. Listen to Michael. And you're worth it. And just be open to receiving and being interested and curious about what this man in front of you is offering, because that's going to give you a lot of insight into what's next. And so if you're getting the invitation, he's asking you out, and he's going to just make the assumption that he's going to take care of it. And here's my recommendation if he doesn't. So just in case this happens to you, so you'll know what to do. If the check comes and he doesn't make a move for it, or he asks you to, hey, do you want to split it? What I recommend doing at that point, being very graceful about it and just acting a little surprised, but I want you to receive it gracefully and be like, oh, okay, sure. So you can hesitate a little bit, let him know that you weren't expecting it, but I would definitely go ahead and split it. And that's why I always encourage you to do a coffee or a wine, so that if that's the approach of the man, then you're not out for half of the dinner. So that does happen. It's happened to me once. And so it might happen to you. So go ahead and be graceful. And I wouldn't recommend going out with him again if you want the man to assume that masculine position. And
I
so,
agree.
good. So let's go into, is there anything you recommend that the ladies don't do on dates, or maybe that the women should be doing? What's the biggest tip you will give them that women should be doing?
So there are so many of them. I'll try and cover a couple, but the do's you should do, you need to smile, and you need to smile and be fun. And I can tell you right now, and I'm going to focus a little bit on the smile a little bit. This isn't just about dating. This is about your entire life. If you want to be recognized, if you want to climb in life, you need to smile. You need to smile wherever you are. And you need to make it authentic. You need to make it a part of who you are. You need to let people know you're happy, you're friendly. You need to know that they can approach you. Smiling is the most, to me, it is the biggest asset you can ever have. I do it not because I think, oh, I need to get something. When I walk down a street, I walk straight and tall, and I have my head up and my eyes are open, and I look at people that I'm approaching, and I give them a smile. You will not believe the number of people and the friends I have made just by smiling in my office building. I can't tell you how many people, especially women, who have come up to me and said, I see you at Starbucks all the time. And I'll be in a completely different part of town. And I oftentimes don't even recognize them, but they recognize me because I smile and make their day. So always do that, because remember this, whether you're at a party and hoping to meet somebody there or at any occasion, men are looking at you no matter where you are. You may not even see them, but they can see if you're smiling, engaging, and they will make a judgment about you from afar. So remember that. You need to show that you're a happy, fun person. So
Yeah,
that's a critical one. Have a sense of humor. Be conversational. Don't talk. You want to make sure that you're having a dialogue with somebody on a date. Have a personality, but make sure it's your personality and be truthful with who you are. So be yourself.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I like that you said be yourself, because I think that sometimes what happens is we get nervous and we are being cautious, or we're wanting to be perceived a certain way. But really the best way to be perceived is as a authentic, real person. And that would include admitting that, yeah, I'm feeling a little nervous right now on this date, or
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm running late. I was having a bad hair day, or gosh, I'm sorry, I couldn't find parking, and I had whatever. Just being okay with where you are and who you are in life, because I think that's going to be received well.
So a few of the don'ts, if you want to hear them.
Yeah, please.
So a few of the don'ts. I'm going to say again, don't pay. Just please don't do it. You are showing a really negative side, in my opinion. I wouldn't respect a woman that would pay. I don't think you should. And you shouldn't respect a man that would think that you should be paying. But other attributes, don't be negative. Don't be complaining. Don't be pushy if you're starting to date somebody. Don't be controlling if you're, dating for the second, third, fourth time. Insecurity can come out in a lot of different ways. So don't try to be insecure. Be confident. Be positive. This may sound um, this may sound really obvious to you, but don't have sex too soon. And that's really important. You don't want to have sex on your first and second date. It's you don't know the man well enough. You don't know his intentions well enough.
Right.
So don't do that. And believe it or not, a man that's really interested in you is not going to push you or run away because you don't have sex after the first couple of dates.
Right.
He may do you the best thing ever and run away after you don't. And you just learned he was not interested in a long-term commitment. He just wanted to have sex. So that's really critical.
Yeah, that's where the boundaries come in, right? Having boundaries to know, be truthful to what it is that you want to attract. And if you're watching this and you're wanting a committed relationship, a man is not expecting you to sleep with him. He wants to get to know you as well. So sure, men want to have sex, right? I mean, but it doesn't mean he's going to pressure you. And if a man is looking for a long-term relationship, he wants to get to know you as well. Would you agree with that, Michael?
Baby, I wanted to have sex from you from the moment I saw you. So I'll be honest, but we didn't. So I took that pressure home, I guess. So there's one other thing. Don't send nude photos of yourself. And I say that because I definitely had that experience on quite a few occasions.
Okay.
And
don't send pictures that are inappropriate. Maybe don't keep everything as vanilla as possible until you know what the man's real intentions are, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And this one's a difficult one, but learn to be non-judgmental. The most non-judgmental person I know is Jaki. I have learned so much from her and how to be more understanding of people, but people, especially men on a date, first dates, second dates, they will read and realize and determine that you're being judgmental in a certain way by just what you say, your tone, and your mannerisms. So keep things fun, uplifting, positive as you get to know the person that you're dating.
Yeah.
You will date them much longer. It may not work out in the long run, but you will make a lot more progress. So
yeah. Thank you for saying that. So I want to address something that I said at the beginning of the interview and how Michael said to me about a month into dating, we'd gone to, I guess, on, maybe 10 dates, maybe more, maybe less. But anyway, the point is that we went to a really nice restaurant. And I don't remember the exact conversation, but something came up where we were on this topic. And he blurts out, he said, "I'm never getting married again." and so do you remember that?
I know right where we were as well.
Yeah. And so what did I say when you said that?
I remember saying that to you, and you said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to marry you." And I thought, oh, this is great. I'm home free. And now look at me. Here I am, married to the most beautiful woman in the world.
So thank you, baby. So what happened for me was when he threw that brick at me, I call it throwing a brick, an emotional brick. I think a lot of women would just get up and want to run, end the date, shut down, become judgmental. But I knew that was coming from fear. And I'll tell you why I knew. Because everything that Michael had done up to that point, all of his actions had been very supportive of wanting to committed relationships. And we'd even discussed it in the very beginning, established that was what we were both interested in. We didn't know if it was with each other, but we were at least on the same page. And so everything that he'd done up to that moment had led me to believe that he was very commitment minded, that he liked a lot about being married, and I could see him married again. So when he said that, I knew it was coming from fear. I knew that whatever we had been discussing or something had triggered him, and he was having some fears come up. And so I was able to handle that in the moment with a little humor. Don't worry, I'm not going to marry you. But of course, inside, I was a little very disappointed that he said that, because it did rock my world a little bit. But again, I just handled it with some ease and grace and looked at the overall picture. Now, I wasn't trying to change Michael. It's just that some things weren't lining up. And so what I obviously were married. And so he came to, to the realization that he did want that. But I think that it's all about actions, right? It's what a man's saying and doing. So you're watching for that congruency, and in everything a man says and everything he does, that they're in alignment. And, I'm not saying don't listen to a man when he says I'm not going to get married, because he might be telling you the truth. But in this case, I thought that it was a little out of alignment.
That's really interesting. Let me pick up, I'll be really short, but you mentioned actions and words. You need to make sure that when a man is using words and is telling you he's going to do something, you need to make sure he follows through and that there's action behind the words, because men will say whatever they think they need to say to just kind of get rid of the issue, get rid of the subject. But if he says he's going to do something, he better follow up. That's a real good man. If they aren't following up with what they say they're going to do, then it's another red flag.
Yeah, I think that's just such sage advice. It's all about the actions, and it's really, a man might say something like you said, but if he's not doing it, then there's definitely something you need to be paying attention to. And oh my goodness, I think we could go on and on and on and keep talking. There's so much that we can share with the ladies, but I know that we're at the top of the hour for our interview, Michael, and I just want to thank you so much for your time and for the beautiful life that we share together, and for you being such a man of integrity, a man of your word, and someone that I admire and look up to. And I just love sharing my life with you. And I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate everything that you do for me, and being here to share with the ladies, and us modeling for the women that are watching what it is, looks like, and sounds like to have a highly functional, successful, mature love relationship. And so thank you again, Michael, for being here. I really appreciate your time.
Baby, likewise. I love you. It's a great relationship. And it actually, I hear people say, wow, marriage and relationships are so much work. I got to tell you, if you do it right, it's pretty easy. There's always little things here and there, but you know what? It's pretty easy between Jaki and me. We love and respect each other.
Yeah. Okay, ladies, you heard it from Michael. So keep going, take those risks, never give up on love. And thank you again for being a part of the event. And I look forward to connecting with you as this unfolds. And again, thank you, Michael, for being here. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Love you.
You know what? I actually have one more thing I want to share. Just hang on a minute. So we just wanted to say one more thing as we're sitting side by side, that we really want to encourage you to not give up, no matter how long it takes. And it might take 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You can never give up, because love is at the end of it, and it'll be so worthwhile. You'll forget about all the dating blues and all the challenges you had, but you'll be a better person for it, and then you'll have love in your life.
So listen to Jaki, follow her advice, take more risks, get out there and just do it. But the most important thing is you have to do the work. Never give up on love.
Yeah. So thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.